どうも皆様いらっしゃいませ。ホープです。ヴァンパイア続きをプレイしていきます。今回はですね、エドガー・スワンジーと話せっていうところなので、エドガーのところにエドガーの部屋、スワンジーさんの部屋の前に来てます。お話伺いましょう。
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
ギフト。救われるよ。生きた矛盾だ。女のギフトじゃない。まあ妹さん亡くしたしな。この力のせいで。でもこの人悪気があって言ってんじゃないんだよな。
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
謝る必要はないぞ。
There is no need to apologize, Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
血生臭い方法で解決したらいいのか。杭とか持ってるぞ僕。なんかないかな。何かかってラッキーシッチャだな。8月4日ペンブローク病院背景スワンジー先生、臨時遺体安置所が開け次第安置所の管理を喜んでお引き受けいたします。すでにお話しした通り戦時中医師であった身ですから、また国に仕えることができ嬉しく思っています。死者に対応する医師と生きている人の手当てをする医者とでは、医者といっても違いがあることは承知していますが、重要なことは旅立った人々も同様に歓迎し、手厚いケアをすることだと信じています。ご安心ください。全力でこの新しい役割に報い、最善を尽くします。私の資格に関するご質問についてですが、申し訳ありませんが、こうしてお伝えする以外に有用な書類などはご用意できないのです。所属連隊によって医師に任命され、多くの命を救ったこと、これは誓って事実です。私の言葉だけでは不十分でしたら、軍管理部に私の経験と能力についてお問い合わせください。医学研究に従事しなかったとはいえ、戦争を経て医 医師が本当に知っておくべき知識は有していると確約してもらえることでしょう。敬具、ラケシュ・チャダナ元医師。あ、資格持ってないんだね。手違いで衛生兵として登録されてしまった。なるほど。なんか他に話すことあるかい？
Do you need something, Jonathan?
質問があるんですが。
I have just a few questions.
Then ask away. I'm at your service, Doctor.
おい、パー。
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
Where do we stand today?
Oh, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
What do you expect of me?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the East End, the forgotten.
セントポールストールブラザーフッドについて。
You mentioned something about a secret society. A brotherhood, if I recall. Could you elaborate?
Certainly. I've been a member of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole for several years. We are pledged to monitor and report vampire activity in England as impartial scientific observers.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town. There was something as yet unseen that set those chain of events in motion.
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster that lurks beneath the civilized surface.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you tell me about my condition and how it came about?
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know. Forget the myths, the hackneyed scrawlings, and the penny dreadfuls. They do not scratch the surface of the truth you now find yourself in.
太陽光で滅びる？焼け焦げたんだけど。
The sun. The morning following my transformation. Its rays burned me. There was pain, smoke, and my skin blackened.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
滅びることはないのか。
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
ウィリアム・ビショップ。
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe, was he a vampire?
He was a Skull, technically speaking.
スカル。
The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do scowls come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
意味嫌っている。
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a scowl?
A Skull is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
さよなら。
We'll see each other again soon, Edgar.
他には何かないかな。 警告の手紙。ペンブローク病院10月25日。前略スワンジー先生、ソローストリックランド医師とハーベイ・フィディックの件に関して、怪我した人だね。非常に深く憂慮していることをお知らせしなければなりません。フィディック氏は、仕事中にひどい怪我をして入院しています。正しく処置しなければ腕が完全に使い物にならなくなってしまうかもしれません。ストリックランド医師は、外科的措置を行うことでフィディック氏の腕を完全に治療できるかもしれないと主張しています。私はもし合併症が起きれば腕の機能がさらに悪化する恐れがあると考えます。若き同僚ストリックランド医師は向こう数年で、偉大な専門家となり得る大胆で斬新な外科医かもしれませんが、今はこのようなリスクの高い施術を行うには技術が不足しています。過去に彼が犯した過ちをお忘れでしょうか。ストリックランド医師は聞く耳を持ってくれませんので、スワンジー先生にこのような危険な実験を禁止していただくべきかと存じます。そうそう、ウェバリー・アークロイド。口の悪い人だね。こうメガネの先生からだね。ソローの医療技術は過去に疑問を持たれている。なんか起こしたんだね。医療事故的な。ヴァンパイアの希少種。ちょっと気合い入れて読まないと。学者でかつ先祖代々の書物を学んだ者として隠されたあるいは失われた秘密に関する手がかりを調べる際の伝説や古代の民話を考慮に入れることの重要性についてはいくら強調しても足りないほどだ。よくある間違いとしては常識と確立された真実を混同し、それに基づいて矛盾した素材を排除することである。例としてヴァンパイアの未発見の種の可能性やすでに事実とみなされているさまざまな不死者の種類の再検討の必要性については、我々が長い時間を通して知り集めてきた事実をもとに考えねばならない。我々は何世紀にもわたって後にイーコンという名だと判明した存在をヴァンパイアと呼んでいた。シベリアに赴いた教会の4人の探検家たちによってバルゴットが獰猛なタイプのヴァンパイアであるという証拠が発見されるまで、我々はこの生物が神話的なウェアウルフに関連していると考えていた。今や我々はそれが事実でないことを知っている。他の事実についてはどうだろうか。私の故郷のラクシャーサは、中国のキョンシーは、南チリのベウチェンはどうだろう。そしてわざわざ美しいイギリスを去らずとも、時折ルースのセント・ジェームス教会付近を飛行しているのを目撃されているコウモリの姿をした女性はどうだろうか。いくつかの不明瞭な証言において、1666年に伝染病を蔓延させてロンドンを滅ぼそうとした最悪という名でのみ呼ばれている生物については、イギリスの古いイーコンによって時に獲物の血しか口にせず、誰にも気づかれずに人間と不死者の間を行き来できる伝説の狩人と表現された、休むことを知らないヴァンパイアハンター、神話的存在ニムロットは、兄弟たちよ、もし我々が数分でも常識だと思い込んでいることを忘れることができれば、発見について確信しすぎることなどできないだろう。セントポール・シュザ、アッシャー・トールツリー著、夜の帳を取り去るより。よくわからん。出資者と話す。出資者。Vampire.
I have wasted too much energy for so little.
あ、怖い。ロビン。あ、怖い。あ、変。なんかこの箱あったっけ。あ、怖い。箱なし。もしもし。あ。
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet lady of mercy.
あれ、この人、ヴァンパイアの人じゃない？
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you
めちゃ
again.
緑。
You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a vamp... The lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
おじいさんに聞かれてもいいの？スワンジーがヴァンパイアに憧れている？遊ばれてるみたいだ。お会いできて光栄です。スワンジーはヴァンパイアに憧れてるの？
So it seems our Dr. Swansea does indeed have a fascination for creatures of our constitution.
Dr. Swansea is a remarkable man. Dedicated, one might say, obstinate? He spent years compiling our bestiary.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
ヴァンパイアについて聞きたいことがあるんです。
Pardon my boldness, your ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood. But the questions need wait.
I'm a scientist.
お預け。
My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
食べずに解決しなきゃダメなの？
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best to ease their pain. 信じましょう、とりあえずね。
The world would be a
口先だけで信じ
better
とこう。
place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion.
ゆすりの。
I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
犯人は他のヴァンパイアか。
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
患者かその家族。
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
血生臭い方法で解決しないんですか？
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
はい、すみません。
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
この人が来た時に執筆師の人が出てくれってこと？私に任せてくれ。
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
いきなり字幕が消えたね。
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed.
ノーヒント
I'm
でやれ。
sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
他にお話は。
Is our little mystery closer to being solved, Dr. Reed?
I think of nothing else, my lady.
My situation is delicate, and it occupies all my thoughts. The blackmail must stop. I need assurance.
はい、頑張ります。ゴシップ好きのハリエッタ・ジョーンズっていう人がいるから、その人に話聞いてみたらみたいな感じと言ってた気がする。あくまで気がするレベルだけど。他に箱ないかな。じゃあちょっとなんかハリエッタ・ジョーンズっていう人知らないな。もう一個は誰だ。
We must prove what we are capable of.
はじめまし
Good
て。
evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan.
Gwyneth
Welcome to the
Brannigan.
Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
不正の噂について知りませんか？
Have you heard rumors of anything underhand going on here at the hospital?
No, Doctor. Never.
No。なんか知ってる感じだけど。
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
は
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all
か
the
な
staff
りギリギリ
yet.
っぽいね。
Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
目を引く人は
Is there anyone that stands
誰
out?
ですか？
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
話して。
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No, I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
いい人だな。
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
個人的な質問してない。
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
ティペッツがあなたを褒めていたよ。
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does
Years
not
ago.
think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you
Bye,
need
nurse.
assistance.
ドクターティペッツなら外にいたぞ。 たったったったった。ピペッツ。
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
不正の噂について何か知りま
Have
せ
you
んか
heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
I have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. We're here to save lives.
はい、すみません。あなたは消耗しています。
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
あなたの態度は無責任だ。無責任だ。
Your attitude is irresponsible, Doctor. Believe me, I've seen so many medical errors caused by exhaustion during the war.
You're right. This is a war, Dr. Reed, and I don't intend to surrender.
固くな。なし。さよなら。
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
ちょっと休めよう。たたたた。あ、君不正知ってんだろ絶対。
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
There are a lot of secrets round here. I'm not surprised someone tried to make money from them.
What kind of secrets?
I'm not in the gossip business, Dr. Reed. If you want to know more, you better talk to Harriet Jones. She's the eldest patient here.
お、おい。
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see this city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
人財産を作るほど稼げるの。
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
二人とも解雇されないぞ。されかねないぞ。
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
絶望で結ばれているのかい。
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
あまり良くない評判について。
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
本当に絶望してんだろう。
Goodbye, Milton.
It's safer here than anywhere else in the East End.
中にいるな。
Damn. The pain.
Simpletons, these nurses.
Here again.
Bred with no respect.
やべえ。うるさそうなばあさん。ばあさんなのか。ばあさんっぽい声だったけど。 哀愁のパリ、ロイヤルガーデンホール劇場、クライルフィッチ提供、ドリス・フレッチャー、哀愁のエスタートパリ、小さなガラクタブック。こんばんは、おばあさん。お話を聞かせてもらえますかな？
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
どうも。質問があるんですが。
Dr. Swansea is quite busy, and I need you to help me get acclimated. I have many questions.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
君が脅迫者なのか？ゴシップが好き？
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little bitches' greedy little eyes. Just waiting for me to pop off they are.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round. Miss Jones, greetings. How do we feel?
Again? Waking a poor old woman in her sleep? There isn't a poor life needs saving somewhere?
質問があるんです。
Now, I need to ask you a few simple questions.
Well, if you really must.
何か疑わしいこと？
Have you noticed any suspicious comings or goings?
It would be a great deal easier to make a list of things unsuspicious in this house of charlatans.
そんなに？
Come now, Miss Jones. Surely it's not that bad.
Have you no eyes? This hospital accepts all manner of souls, regardless of origin. The proper sick cannot heal. We're kept sickened by the refugees.
Everyone here is very capable. I have not seen any instances of unprofessionalism.
Thieves and murderers, the lot. People have gone missing here, you know. Poof, without a trace.
人がいなくなる。
If you could just tell me why you were admitted.
It's terrible, Doctor. What with a pain in my chest, coughing up blood, and I get awfully tired. Wouldn't be so bad if I hadn't lost my house and all.
I see.
No one comes to visit, you know. Not even my own flesh and blood.
I'll come and visit you shortly. Good night, Miss Jones.
家までなくなってんのか、この人。なんかないか。なんもないな。
The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
ピッパと、クレイン。ピッパ。こうだ。 ピッパがいねえな。ピッパ、あ、いいか。
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
知らない男が看護師を訪ねていると聞いたぞ。
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet
めっちゃ
Jones.
険しい顔してる。
Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
憎しみが生かしている。
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if a nurse finds some happiness where she can?
あんまり知らないみたいだ。君はミルトンの共犯者だ。
Milton cheats patients out of their money at this hospital, Pippa. Are you his accomplice?
Yes, I am.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
No. It is my definition of getting out of this useless life once and for all.
なぜこんなことを。
Why do you do it?
Why not? Most of the sick who paid for a bed are already dead, or will be soon. Don't you see the futility of all this?
霊障は救いにはならないよ。これにしよう。
In your position, I would suggest a more elaborate defense. Cynicism will not save you.
This isn't cynicism, it's realism. You still need me, Dr. Reed, and you know it.
誰のアイデアだ。
Whose idea was it?
What difference does it make? We did it together, and I'm guilty as charged.
Answer my question.
It was my idea first, even though Milton would say it was his, to protect me.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
あなたのアイデアなの。ドロシーを探す。箱ないか箱。紙入ってる。しわくちゃんの手紙。もうあんたにはうんざりをくれ。一体何をしたのよ。あんたがどうやってあのバカなガキの腹渡を抜いたのかって港中で噂になってる。ナイフを出す前に20数えろって何か言ったらわかるの？あんたが気に入らない人間みんな殺してたら、私らはまともに働けないし、みんな言うことなんて聞きやしないよ。噂じゃ死んだ誰かの家族があんたを探してて、中には殺すって誓ってるやつまでいるってよ。今晩は家に帰ってこないで。通りを怪しい奴らが見回ってる。あんたを捕まえるために送り込まれた共産主義者の自警団か何かかもよ。2、3日安全な場所に行ってて、ホワイトチャペルの病院がいいかもね。そこでなんかいい仕事のネタがありそうかチェックして、一度ぐらい役に立ってよ。落ち着いたらウェットブートボーイズの誰かをよこすから戻ってきて。エドビナ。クレイコックス。刺された人。クレイコックスいるじゃん。その前に箱。箱。ない。裏に箱。あった。気に入れね。こんばんは、クレイコックス。
Good evening, Mr. Cox.
Dr. Reed, still working at night, I see. I like that.
And why is that?
People who don't sleep at night always seem more alive to me. More interesting, one way or another.
恐喝の噂について。
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in the hospital?
Blackmail? That's not my style. Too risky. The black market, though. Now that's where the money is.
トゥーリスキー。
Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water?
The wound he gave me will make sure I don't forget him. Still fucking hurts. Boss had cut me good.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. I guess revenge gives you balls.
What did he want? Revenge?
I recently had to kill his brother. Poor arsehole thought it would be easy to return the favor.
新しいヒント。クレイは自分を殺そうとした男の弟を殺していた。そりゃ殺されそうになるよね。疲労してるね。クレイはエドウィナー・コックスと結婚してる。お前は怪物だ。何が何でも生き延びるのが大切。
Only the strongest survive, then? Survival at all costs. Is that all you think about?
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
How is your hospitalization going, Mr. Cox?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff. But as long as I'm treated all right, I'll be fine.
What's wrong with the Pembroke staff?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton. I thought he was going to break all my bones before I reached my bed.
I see. Any other smart comments?
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
What's wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump. Smelly, sad and dirty.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff here, aren't you?
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job. Must be an unsatisfactory profession at this time, I'm sure.
なんか日本語が変なんだ。個人的な質問。お、いっぱいある。
Am I right to assume your wife's letter pissed you off, Clay?
I was so mad I threw away the knife she got me when we got married.
Your wife gave you a knife as a wedding present.
That knife has always been my lucky charm. If I'd had it in my hand when I got stabbed on that pier, I'd not have been wounded.
持ってないの？
Do you want it back?
I don't need it here, but if you'd be kind enough to bring it to me, I'd be really grateful.
A grateful Clay Cox? I might just find your knife and bring it back to you to see that happen.
I can give you directions, but I'd be surprised if you managed to find it. My hideout isn't meant to be found easily.
A lucky charm.
新しいミッ
I
ション。
never would have taken you as the superstitious type.
We all have our flaws, Doc. Mine's to have my weapon of choice for when the really dirty business comes around.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc. I know its streets, who to pay, who to avoid, and who to bully. I won't get caught.
心理学をしておくんだね。正義が君を見つけるだろう。我々は皆代償を払わねばならないよ。代償を払わねばならんよ。
We can't escape the consequences of our actions. The past catches up with us in the end.
I ain't afraid of death. I don't hide who I am. I live my life honestly, which is more than I could say for most folks.
And who are you then?
I'm the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. One day I'll leave this shitty place and punch in the face all who thought I would not come back.
新しいヒント。もう全部いけたな。ギャングのリーダーに返り咲く。ギャングなんだ。チンピラじゃねえんだ、この人。怖っ。
What can you tell me about your marriage, Clay?
Marriage is the sweetest cage, they say. Well, I found myself locked in one with a wild animal.
You mean your wife keeps you on your toes?
No, I mean, we both have claws and we both love to bite.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
さよなら。レストはこんななんか、適用してマップを見てみたら、まあまあ遠いところにあるんだね。まあ うん。こっちの方が近い。いや、どっちもどっちだな。まあまあ、早いもん勝ちだ。早いもん勝ち。あ、なんだ。なんか出たな。近くを切り替え。なんか話してんな。なんでこれ。
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
めっちゃ立ち聞きしてたの見られたけど、大丈夫なのかな。見られてないのか。気づかんのか、この二人は。いなくなった。あれクレインもいなくなった。誰かいるな、それ。なんかすごい動き方してるけど。それではまあ時間も時間なので、今回はここまでにしたいと思います。次回はこの続き、下水の発汗を連れ戻すってやつやっていきたいと思います。この人も初めましてだね。不明だね。これ一番初めに刺されてたとこだよね。なんかないかな。かっこ悪い。バネ。さらに普通の小さなハンドル部品。さらに奥にあるアルミの粉末。これはそれでは、最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。また次回をお楽しみに。ホープでした。